Hey everybody, welcome back to another Kevin's Kreations here on Geektopia Island. I'm Kevin.
I'm Gardwell.
And we're back today to showcase another deck for Wonder. We're still in like a weird lull between sets, so we're just going over just a couple weird decks that we've just come up with or know about. And we've had a couple Wonder tournaments now, and so we're just going to show off a couple of the decks that were there. And this one is the one that I played. It was super fun. I've learned though that some of it's not as strong as it could be, but it's just the way the world is in Force Wheel now is there's a whole lot of kill spells, so don't expect your dudes to stay in play.
And check. Very, very, very cheap kill spells too. So.
Yeah. But before we get into the deck, we're going to remind you guys we do have a Patreon. The deck or the Patreon is down below. Go check it out. It just takes $1 to give us some love and support. We greatly appreciate it. And in our Patreon, you'll get access to our Discord and all of our deck techs early and all the other fun stuff that we have in there.
Also remind you that we do have a Force the Wheel deck building app called FOW Grimoire. It is on Apple and Android. With that, we do have a free version, which gives you 2 free decks to build and share with your friends or us. And then just go ahead and download it and check it out. See if you like it or not.
But with that, guys, we're going to talk about the Crimson Trigger with our girl Lumia. So, for those that don't know or remember Lumia, she was one of the more powerful decks of the old time, and she does a lot if she stays and is able to use her ability. So, Lumia the Fated Rebirth. She is the red-white ruler from way back then.
Yeah.
So judgments for a white, red, and 1. And she energizes red and white. And at the end of your turn, remove target rested resonator you control from the game, then put it into its owner's field. So simple, easy mode on the front side. So if a dude stays in play on your side, you get to blink it. And so you pretty much just use all kinds of inter-triggers and take advantage of those. It's kind of ridiculous how much value you can get out of that if you get multiple uses.
Oh, yeah.
Next is Lumia, and she judgments into Lumia, Saint of Crimson Lotus. So she's a 10/10 with swiftness. And as long as this enters the field, you may remove a card named Nyarlathotep, the Crimson Radiance, in your hand from the game. This card gains imperishable, and when this card deals damage, you gain that much life. As long as that card is named Nyarlathotep, the Crimson Radiance is in your removed area and is removed by this card. When this card attacks, remove target resonator from the game, then put it back into the field rested. So when she judgments, you get to auto, if you have a Nyarlathotep, you remove it, so that way she always has imperishable and drain, which is super nice.
Oh, yeah.
And when she gets to attack that turn, she gets to blink a dude, whether it's your dude, and on the backside, it doesn't matter if it's your dude or their dude. She can blink either side. And so you're like, cool, your blocker, get it out of my life.
Yep. And
it comes back rested. So it's just super nice. But overall, it's super fun just to be able to blink your stuff out. That's what this whole deck's about, is a whole lot of good inner triggers and doing stuff like that.
And you can see how old it is when they didn't even have the keyword drain back in the day.
Yeah.
And the back art is a lot different from the front.
Yeah.
Which is always awesome. The first Resonator we have, of course, is Dark Alice Rabbit Princess. It is a 1-white quick cast for 2/5. So cards in your graveyards cannot be targeted of spells or abilities your opponent controls, or can be removed from game, which is very powerful in Wanderer for sure. Enter, draw a card, then discard a card or banish an entity. Repeat this process once. As long as the Resonator Chant Edition Magic Stone in your graveyard, Magic Stones you control tap, produce any will of any color. And Dark Alice, and then there you go. It's pretty cute.
She is probably one of the best Resonators in Wanderer. Thankfully, they're making a promo of her, so if you're playing in the Wanderer GPs, get on it, because you get that promo, and that promo is super sweet.
Yep.
But that card is super good for multiple reasons. A, it draws you 2 cards.
Yep.
Because it enter, just draw a card and then discard a card or sack a thing. And if you have multiple things in play that already do their abilities and you can sacrifice them to get use out of them, then you're working out for yourself. You know what I mean? And then as long as you have different things in your graveyard, you get every color. Yep. And it's super nice. The next enter trigger we have is Mikage Reiya. She has 1 black quick cast flying. Enter, search your deck for a darkness card and put it in the graveyard, then shuffle your deck. Vampires you control gain drain. And if this is used as an additional cost of a mage art, if this is banished as an additional cost of a mage art or by an effect of a mage art, put this card from the graveyard into your hand. So, again, this is another one of those cards that is super pivotal right now in Wanderer. I think it's still going to be very good in Wanderer. And she's just going to be used for a very long time. I'm going to use her a lot because it's 1 mana, go put a dude in the graveyard and go put a black card in the graveyard. It doesn't even have to be a dude. That's what makes it so strong, because you're like, I'll get an enchantment and put it in the graveyard because I can.
Like, she can feel Dark Alice really quick, just to be like, Dark Alice, sacrifice 2 things, play her, and then go put an addition from the play in, and it's like super fast, and then you can tap for all the mana. Now, of course, we have the boogeyman of Wanderer is Laurite. We don't like this guy. I don't like this guy. He's 1 green, 1/2, quick cast elf. When this card enters the field, cancel target activation or automatic ability your opponent controls. Super gross and hated and everything. You can remove 3 spirit magics in your graveyard from the game and put it from the graveyard to your hand, which is ridiculous if you're playing that one ruler.
Yeah, Gil.
Gil, there we go. Hate
But Lorite is a card that you have to play.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing green, you have to play it.
Just
The
do
dude's he is very annoying, but he's just part of the game, and so you know that he's gonna be there. So just get him.
You just have to stop him.
Next is Lumia, the Saint of Creation. She is a white and 1 for a 4/7. When this card is in the field, remove the top card of your deck from the game face down. If your J ruler has Lumia in the name, remove the top 3 instead. And you may look at them at any time. You may play cards removed by this card. So as long as she stays in play, you get to look at those cards and play any of those cards there. So it is really cool to get extra value out of this, because once you remove her again, you get extra value of that. But it's very dangerous right now because there's a lot of kill spells that are just like, hey, cool, you removed 3 for no reason, kill your dude.
Yep.
And it's kind of rough. I learned that the hard way. It is what it is. I got to redo this deck, but I enjoyed playing it when I did.
Yeah, for sure. And as you said, it's just extra cards in your hand for sure. Let's see. Tsuiya, Curse Spawn of the Star / Curse of Ragnarok. It is a 1 black resonator, 4/4. Enter target player banishes a non-magic stone, non-J ruler entity with a plus. Put X/1/1 counters on this card, where X is the banish card this way, the mana cost. And you pay a black less to play card's name, Curse of Ragnarok, if you need to, if you know. And with that, it has Remnant. Look at your opponent's hand, choose a card, they remove that card from the game. Just straight up remove. No discard, no effects here.
Yeah, Tsuiya is super strong. He's really, really strong. He's good. Because if you get to blink him multiple times, you're like, hey, cool, sacrifice things.
Yeah.
And you just get free value out of Curse of Ragnarok.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter if he gets counters or not, you're just getting rid of things constantly, which is nice.
Dark Allison Mott. She is a black and a white for 6/6 with she has villains, so you can only play the villains. If your starting deck is Alice, you get to play her as a Tails, but we're not doing any of that. Mainly we're using her for enter, look at your opponent's hand, choose a Resonator card from among it, and remove her from the game. That is mostly what she's here for, because if you blink that multiple times, that's free discard.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's even better than discard because it removes her from the game, so they can't even get it back. Super, super strong.
And the next one, of course, is Nyarlathotep, the Crimson Radiance, the one that is part of the J ruler, is a red and white 7/7. It has a limit of 1, and then has Awakening White. When this card enters the field, remove target Resonator from the game. When this card leaves your field from a non-field zone, put that removed card into its owner's hand. And it has Awakening Red as well. When this card enters the field, you may play a light or fire chant with total cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its cost. At the end of turn, if there are no limit counters on this card, return it to the owner's hand. Now, what is limit, Kevin?
So essentially limit is you put a counter on this when it comes into play, and then it'll go away next turn because they only get to stay in play like a certain amount of times. Yeah. But you're never really going to play this girl because you're mostly going to use her to remove with Lumia to get the free drain and imperishable because it's super powerful. If you have to play her, you have to play her. But in the same regard, you get to keep blinking her and remove things. It's just... Nyarlathotep's mostly there to give you drain and imperishable though. Next is in Perfect Loki, a blue and a black for an 8/100. She has quick cast. This card gains +0/+100 for each card in your graveyard. And then enter J Resonators your opponent's control, get -0/-X to the end of turn where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. The rest is if your J ruler is Loki, we're not doing any of that.
Nope.
It's mostly to come into play and kill your opponent's board for 2 mana quick cast, which is super good.
Super good. I love this card when it first came out.
Oh, it's so strong.
Next one, of course, is Pricia, Secret of Friends, and slash Pricia's Big Story, or Big Show. Sorry, it's a green and a 1. Quick cast, enter, search your deck for a Resonator with total cost of X or less, and put it in the field where X is the number of times you have already played Pricia's Big Show. And it's a 7/7. Of course, Pricia's Big Show is just 1 green quick cast. And 4C2, put this card in the owner's hand as it resolves. So 4C2 is amazing. You just look at the top 2 cards and you rearrange them if you want, however you want. Really good.
And with this card, so enter trigger doesn't matter how many times you've done it. So if Pricia's Big Showed like 3 times and you get to blink a Pricia that's in play once, you literally get to toolbox multiple times. off the same Pricia, which is super powerful.
Which is super good. You just keep getting creatures every single time.
Yeah, I got to do it, and it was really, really fun because you're just like, hey, cool, go get what I want.
Yep.
Next, we have Astema, the Returnee of Hatred. It is 2 black and 1 for a 7/6 flyer. Enter, your opponent loses 500 life. If there are 3 more runes revealed in Runary, you gain 5, which we're not playing. Pay 400 life, draw a card, play this ability only during your turn and only once per turn. And then pay 1,000 life, deal. Your opponent loses 500 life. Play this ability only during your turn and only once per turn. Again, one of those old school staples that we used to play all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still just as powerful, just for the simple fact that you lose 5 when it comes into play, and you would pay 4 life, draw a card. So being able to blink this in multiple times and be like, hey, lose 5 is really, really good.
Yeah. And if old fan of ours knows that she's my waifu of Force of Will, love her very much. Next one, of course, is Mikage Sedro. If you have a blink deck, why not have this guy in there? It is a black, black, green, black, and it's a 12/12 flying precision. And when a Resonator dealt damage by this card is put into the graveyard, put it in the field under your control. It gains darkness in addition to other attributes and a bio. It is also a vampire in addition. Remove a stranger, but we don't have that. But enter, you may pay any amount of life this card deals that much damage to target resident your opponent controls. So every time it just comes into play, you can pay life and kill a dude and take it.
Super strong.
Yep.
And if it sticks in play, you're like, cool, precision, kill your dude.
Yep.
Simple. It's mine.
It's mine.
Next is Nidhogg, the black-white one. He is 2 white and 2 black, 12 protective deity. He is a 12/12 flyer. You gain barrier. Enter, look at your opponent's hand, choose up to 2 cards, they remove them from the game. When this card leaves the field, put all cards that were removed area that were removed by this back into the owner's hand. So essentially, if you get this dude early, you get to remove 2 cards from their hand. And we do have ways to get this early, and we'll get to that when we get to the spells.
Oh yeah, for sure. And of course, most of all these are one-ofs in the deck, but you just have Mikage to go and grab them and put them in the graveyard. Fallen Angel, the Black Tears. It is 3 black and 2. It's a 12/12 flying. Enter, J Resonators as your opponent's control, gain -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the attack of this card, so -12. And then black, discard this card, target J Resonator gains -400, -400 until end of turn, draw a card. You don't even lose her, and you put her in the grave really quick for quick shenanigans. Pretty good card.
Our boy Garrion, because he's super powerful
Just
if you
have
get
to
him.
play him.
2 green and 2 black and 1 for a 15/15 flying swiftness precision. Your opponent cannot play spells that cost a total of 1 or less, and then pay a green, remove this card from your hand, counter target spell 1 or less, or pay a black, remove this card from your hand, destroy target dude 1 or less. And so it's super powerful. I mean, Garrion's just kind of a staple like Laurite. Just know that he exists and he's going to be a thing for quite some time.
For sure. Next one, of course, is Griphon. Racing across darkness is black, green, and a 4, 12/12 flying. But why it's here is put the top 2 cards of your Magic Stone in the deck, from the deck to the field, not rested or anything. It just comes into play. Super powerful, super awesome.
And then now we're to some of the spells that help you get them in place. So this is one of the main ones. The reason we're playing so many like one of black creatures, because this card is super good.
It's
and I
just
forgot
really
about
good.
it, and I was just like, oh god, this card's so good. A part of True Power. It is a black and a green remnant. It is a mage art, so you could sacrifice Mikage Reiya to it to trigger all that. As additional cost to play this card, banish a Resonator. Put target Darkness Resonator from your graveyard into the field. So you literally get any kind of value you want early. If you get a Reiya turn 1, you're like, cool, set up what I need. You're like, cool, go get a Griphon, put a Griphon in play, get 2 free stones. Or you need to kill their board, you're like, go get a Fallen Angel, -12 to board.
Yeah.
And you have a 12/12 flyer. Or if you have a Garrion early, it's pretty funny too, because you're like, hey, cool, Garrion, you don't play spells.
At all. Just enjoy. And I just swung for, 15. Part of True Power is like one of my favorite cards of Force of Will, for sure. The next one, of course, is Dark Sun. It is 1 black edition quick cast. Your opponent banishes a non-Magic Stone, non-J-Roller entity. And that's it. That's all you really need.
So
it's good.
For us, this is an addition with quick cast, so it helps you against like the Violet matchup when they're like, hey, cool, Dragon, you're like, hey, cool, just sacrifice the dude. And it's also an addition, so it sits in play after you make them kill a thing, so you can use your Dark Alice to sacrifice this to get an addition in the graveyard.
Yep.
So it helps on multiple levels of just kill a dude and get more value for Dark Alice.
And speaking of that Wonder Tournament, I lost turn 2 against that dragon, and it's not fun. So always have an answer for sure.
Next is Look at Corruption. It is 1 darkness. Look at your opponent's hand, choose a card 4 or less. They discard that card. If this card is awakened, you can also choose a 5 or more. and they discard that card as well. Pay a black and 1 to awaken this. This card is a new staple for black. Know that it's going to be there because it's literally the best discard spell in the game, because it gets almost any card in the game of Forcible right now.
Pretty much, just 1 black, get rid of your main key point.
Yeah.
Thank you, bye. And of course, probably should be in every single deck is number 13, AntiMagic. It's a green and a white. Quick cast, cancel target spell. If you have Seal 4, you may pay a white less. Seal 7 may pay a green less. So free counter spell. Pretty good.
Yeah, or 1 mana counter spell, which is pretty good still.
Pretty super solid.
And then the final card of the main deck is Sephirot, the Blueprint of Life. It is 1 black, enter, choose Harvest or Corrupt. If you choose Harvest, draw a card. If you choose Corrupt, your opponent discards a card. And then tap, banish this card, produce a green and a black. If this will is spent to play a Resonator, it cannot be canceled. And then play this ability only if you control a card named Athenia, Deity, Hope, Harvest of Corruption. So again, this is another one of those cards that allows you to just get free value off of turn 1. When you play it, you either draw a card or discard a card for them, and then Alice kills it to give you free value.
Yep.
And then the stones, I've already figured out that I need to change some of them because they didn't really work out for me. But with what I have the black-green dual stone because it's needed, the white-black dual stone, and then the magic stone of the Moonshade, which is produce a moon or tap, pay 2 life, produce any color, which we're playing a 5-color deck pretty much, so you're going to be playing every color.
Yep.
But I will probably change to the Seal 3 stone because it's one of the best stones right now because it gives you any mana on turn 3 when you said, because there's a couple of times where I hit like back-to-back black-green stones and I needed the white and I was just like, this is not good. So.
And if you are able to do Griphon, then bam, you can have that Seal 3 like turn 1.
Yeah.
If possible.
It's kind of disgusting. Overall though, the deck is super fun. I really enjoyed playing it. I learned that you can't rely on your dudes staying in play for them to get the triggers that you should. Yeah. It kind of is rough right now because there's a lot of kill spells, and Gradius is a card. Just
the terrible.
I forgot about Gradius being a card, and that is a super good card. So just know that kill spells exist, and this deck is fun. Lumia is still really strong. Don't. She's one of the old rulers that can still stay up with the new ones. It just takes a little bit more for her to get going. But the deck list will be down below, guys. Check it out. Let us know what you think down in the comments, and we'll see y'all again next time.
Goodbye.
Later. Make sure you hit that like button, guys, and subscribe to our channel. It would greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure you hit that bell to stay up to date on any of the notifications for our channel. And lastly, make sure you give us all the comments down below, and we'll make sure we get them.
And just to remind you that we do have a Patreon. It only takes $1 to subscribe. But for those Mythic and above Patrons, we like to give you a super thanks, and that would be Ryan and Magic Dragon Games. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
We love you.